Welcome back, everybody, to Chris and Harry Unplugged. I'm Harry. That's Chris. This is episode 10. It feels a little bit like a milestone, at least in my view. I mean, we've been doing this for 2.5 months now, which is crazy.
Yeah. Like we tell you often, and I will continue to tell you, we really try to make progress week over week. I'm not sure how much the progress has been forward, but it has been progress. We've changed up a lot. We're testing and trying, and we continue to try to make it better. So we really appreciate you guys sticking with us. And happy Labor Day to everybody listening on Monday, September 4th. This week was a little bit of a slower news week. Trump did Trump things, blasting Truth Social, and his social media app's about to go bankrupt. Regular politics things.
Yeah, right.
And Biden did a lot of great stuff. You can check out some of our other socials if you want more in depth about that, which is Chris D. Mowry and Harry J. Sisson. But this week we're also gonna kind of hop off the Trump train because it was pretty slow. We're gonna show you guys some smaller news stories that you may not have heard about, some clips, talk about some things. So we have 2 clips lined up here. They're kind of blind react for both of us. I know Harry's seen the first clip. I've not. The second clip we have, neither of us have seen, but it's going viral on Twitter, and it was going viral like literally as we started. So I was like, you know what? We're gonna blind react, and finally we're gonna talk a little bit. A lot of people ask us on a spectrum if we're liberals, if we're progressives, if we're conservatives. Harry and I consider ourselves pretty staunch liberals. I think there's room here for Harry and I to debate on little issues that we may disagree on, but we're pretty in line with each other. And we're going to talk a little bit today, show you guys some Twitter stuff that happened and why we really don't agree with progressives and leftists in this political climate, which I think probably get us a lot of heat. But why not? So
hey, yeah, exactly. I mean, especially with 2024 coming up and how important of an election it is. Chris and I have talked about that last aspect quite a bit, but we've never really had an in-depth conversation. So why not put it in the episode this week where, as Chris said, it's been a little bit of a slower news week and, allows us to dive a little bit more into our personal opinions as opposed to, a story or something, for example. So anyway, with that said, the form. The Google Analytics form.
Yeah,
we're gonna have that. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I know. Last week, the Google Analytics form. I appreciate everyone reaching out. Where's the the form's not working. Yeah, I'm not very good at what I do, unfortunately. So I actually updated the Google Analytics form. You can access it this episode. It's in the link. It's in the description of the YouTube and the Spotify. It's also significantly more extensive than it was originally, and so you can tell us what you like about the podcast, what you don't. Like all the information in there. I know some of it's going to be like, why are we asking for this? It's all very helpful statistically just to understand who our audience is and what you guys may or may not want to see. And so it'll help us continue to progress the podcast. So check out the description. It would mean a lot if you filled it out. And thank you guys so much for everyone who continues to support. I've been seeing a lot of people on my Instagram tagging me on Instagram, like at Chris Mowry, at Harry J. Sisson. I listen to your podcast every weekend. There's been a couple people. Shout out to you. I love you guys a lot. Thank you so much. So, you ready to hop right in? Let's do it. Pull up your clip. Let's see whatever you brought for me to get.
Yeah,
angry
with that chit chat in mind. So, this is a new clip. It's very new. It just kind of happened today and was just kind of shared on social media today. And Chris hasn't seen the full clip. We've talked a little bit about what's going on here. But, man, this is really bad. But actually, before I share my screen, I just want to give some context as to what's going on. So, as you folks probably have seen in the news, there is the Burning Man Festival in Nevada. I think it's like a music thing. I'm not 100% sure what Burning Man is, but it's like a cultural kind of festival. But anyway, it's in the middle of the desert. And the desert that it's in recently experienced some heavy rainfall, basically turning the sand into this like feet-deep, thick mud that has prevented people from leaving the area. So, like, the 70,000+ participants are stuck in the desert for now. They've been told to hunker down, shelter in place until conditions get better, so people can exit safely. And for normal people for rational people, you might look at that and be like, yeah, that's really awful for the people who are there. I hope they get, are able to leave soon. And that's that, right? But for Marjorie Taylor Greene and some other Republicans, it's far deeper than that. It's a conspiracy. There's so much more to the story than just, the weather, weather not being helpful. So let me just share my screen here.
I'm like genuinely scared. Like, this is the thing. Before you play this, like, I didn't see this until, like you said, you mentioned, I haven't seen the clip. I really know nothing about what the conspiracy could possibly be. I assume climate or something, because I know there's some talk of climate there, but I don't really know anything about Burning Man. And the other thing, dude, it's like, when I hear this, I'm like, holy shit. Every week, it's something new. And it just still stuns me equally the same every time. Like, it's just roll it, dude.
It's really bad. I gotta see this. So actually, you know what? I won't even explain what her conspiracy theory is. I'm just gonna roll the clip, and we're all just gonna watch together for the first time. I've seen it, but I know the viewers and Chris haven't. So let's just roll this clip real quick.
I want to talk about Burning Man for a minute. We are watching, from a distance. There are approximately like 73 or 75,000 people in Nevada.
And they're locked in there from floods. And I'm glad I was going to raise that. They literally did a mock sacrifice and all this, and then it flooded with these tornadoes. And it was, sorry, go ahead.
Well, God has a way of making sure everyone knows who God is. I'll say that about that. But let's talk about what is happening to these people. So there's 73, 75,000 people in Nevada desert right now at this Burning Man. They're locked in. They're not allowed to leave. And they're basically probably being brainwashed that climate change is the cause of all of it.
Well,
it's the root of all evil, and it's going to destroy the earth. And they're feeling the panic and the
media is saying that. Oh, this is because you didn't know about climate change.
Yes. So what's going to happen, Alex? It's the same thing, same way they launch any kind of movement. After this is over in Burning Man and these 75,000 people disperse and they go back home, they're going to have these stories to tell and how terrible it is and how we have to do everything possible to stop climate change. It's caused by humans and it's carbon. And it's the amount of carbon that we put out. It's manufacturing. It's our gas and diesel engines. It's agriculture. I mean, AOC wants to get rid of cattle. Even population, we have too many humans putting out too much carbon. You're going to start hearing all this stuff, and this is going to build. And I believe this is the left's new lie they're going to put on the American people and try to get everyone behind and create it to where, remember AOC and the left and many others said that the earth is going to literally explode in a ball of fire. We're going to all die. It's going to be the end of the world.
2030.
This is what they're brainwashing.
Bro, did you just hear what the hell she just said, bro?
Bro. Okay, I have a couple immediate thoughts. First of all, oh my God. I made a video like very recently on TikTok about Marjorie Taylor Greene because this is what really, like, obviously she's known for being the most insane person like this in Congress, but I think it's also ridiculous. Excuse me. I go to school in Georgia, in Kennesaw, Georgia, which is literally right next to Marjorie Taylor Greene's district. She has two real major cities in her district north of me. It would be Rome, Georgia, and Dalton, Georgia. I know people up there. I've visited both Rome and Dalton, Georgia. They're very different places from in town, but great people, pretty places. And this is not to be offensive to anybody, but in general, they deserve and need help. Okay, Rome, Georgia's poverty rate is 21%. Dalton, Georgia's poverty rate is 20%. And so instead of Marjorie Taylor Greene helping any of these fucking people, you know what she's doing? She's fucking sitting on fucking InfoWars trying to be, the craziest person, get the most airtime, be Donald Trump's fucking running mate. But bro, that's it. It's not even like they're showing. Wait, hold on. Let me understand this.
Yeah.
It's not even like oh, they're showing you videos of things that could be climate change to brainwash you. She's like, no. 75,000 people just experience this, and they're being lied to about why it's happening.
Yeah. So basically, what she's trying to say is that the 75,000 people who are there right now, all of them are being brainwashed by the deep state, the Democrats, the media, into believing in climate change. Like, she thinks that there's a brainwashing campaign going on from higher powers in the world, and they're brainwashing these people into climate change and all this stuff. And it's just like, What the fuck are you talking about, you lunatic? Excuse my language.
Well, dude, that is so bizarre. You know what that opens up? That opens up like almost it's almost like in 25 years we could be like, not even 25 years, like right in the next 10 years we could continue to experience these extreme problems from climate change, these stronger storms. In July was the hottest month on Earth ever, just surface temperatures all around the globe. So people will continue to like suffer and die from a lot of these issues. And as they die, Republicans are going to look at them and be like, "Nah, you're dying for a different reason." Like, it just makes no fucking sense.
No, it doesn't.
Insane.
I mean, again, I genuinely think that there must be something going on behind the scenes with the Republican members of Congress. They have a pool, and they all put in like $20 at the beginning of the year, and they're like, whoever can say the craziest shit wins all the money at the end of the year. There must be something. Well, I mean, there's no way that she believes this. And as she said at the beginning of the clip, like, God sent tornadoes to teach them a lesson, to show them who God is. What are you talking about? How insane is that? It's so unfortunate. Yeah, it's so unfortunate because Marjorie Taylor Greene and all these Republicans, like, they're all trying to get the most airtime. Like, that's the inherent goal. Like, all the crazy, that's like, who can get the most airtime? Who can say the most insane thing to go viral? And that'll get them more donations. More people will connect with them. But it's just so hard because a lot of people even tell us, well, if Marjorie Taylor Greene's trying to get airtime by saying insane things, don't play her. Well, you can't let that shit slide. You cannot let that slide. Like, we have to talk. If there is a sitting member of Congress saying some crazy shit like that, dude, wow. No, exactly, and that's like, that's. I think that's how a lot of these like conspiracy theories grow. I always think it's very important to address the certain claims that elected members of government are making. People who actually have an influence in our government. I understand the mentality like, don't play them, don't do this, yada yada yada. But it's important to fact check these things, or at least point out the insanity, because these, we all know the internet, we all know social media. These kind of claims can spread unfiltered so quickly. And I mean, look, do I think that the majority of Americans anytime soon are going to be believing that the weather and the deep state are collaborating now? The weather? No, I don't think that's going to happen. But it just shows you, like, Marjorie Taylor Greene's a leader within the Republican Party. She's besties with Donald Trump. They're BFFs. And going into 2024, Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to be on the campaign trail with Trump. She's going to be on the campaign trail for a lot of Republicans because she's a big name. And so she's a leader in this party. And so a leader in the party opposite to Chris and I assume many of you, are making up these insane conspiracy theories, likely on the spot, and they're just running with it. I mean, they are running with these things, and they don't care how false it is. They don't care the damage it does to society, and they just say it anyway. It's just crazy to me, man. Just crazy.
No, dude, it's insane. I think that's all, like, very well said, and, like, it's just, wow. I mean...
Yeah, and look, I said on Twitter...
no words, truly.
Yeah, I said on Twitter about this, like, I always hear people say, oh, but Marjorie Taylor Greene's fringe. You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't speak for the entire Republican Party. Yes, she does. Yes, she does.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
of course she does. Kevin
She's
McCarthy
not
loves her.
fringe.
No, she's not fringe. She's mainstream. Kevin McCarthy loves her. Donald Trump loves her. The Republican base loves her. This is not like a fringe character who's just, rambling on the side, who's, in the halls of Congress speaking to people who aren't there, right? This is someone who is very popular within their party, so and that's the Republicans, man. No, crazy.
Exactly, and I think that's a fantastic point, that she is not fringe. People are like, oh, don't listen to her. What, bro? Like, she's got a chance at Vice. She's got a chance at Trump's Vice. Like, that is not... What are you talking about, fringe? What are you talking about? Like, that's the same that when Donald Trump says some equally, insane shit to that on True Social or whatever, or he makes some ridiculous claim. Like, people tell me that all the time. They're like, oh, but it's Trump. I'm like, yeah, he's leading the Republican Party by 60 points in the primary. What do you mean fringe? What are you talking about? He's the entire party.
Yeah. I'm telling you, Marjorie Taylor Greene one day is going to run for president. I'm telling you, she's going to.
Oh,
she's going to try to run for president. And so, this idea, like, we just have to see it coming, right? So, we have to see how ridiculous, insane Marjorie Taylor Greene is now and be prepared for when she does run for president, when she does run for higher office, maybe even Senate in your great state of Georgia. we have to be aware of the danger she poses. And I just thought this clip was such a good representation. I mean, she thinks the weather is collaborating with the deep state, folks. This is put her in a psych ward. I mean, this is not something somebody saying things.
That's crazy. I'm gonna have to. Excuse me. I'm gonna have to tweet about that after this, dude. That is so crazy. I mean, that's just insane.
So anyway, folks, I just had to bring that to your attention.
Yeah.
Man. God.
Please, if you're in Georgia, I'll be tweeting some stuff. There's a great woman who's running against Marjorie Taylor Greene who's gonna, I believe, start, or maybe she has started her campaign. She's a Democrat. We need to unseat this woman. So, just remember that. Be on the lookout.
Absolutely.
Okay. Should we move to
yeah, let's move. Because, man, I'm going to get heated in a minute if I keep talking about Marjorie. I'm going to get heated.
Dude. I mean, that's just like, sometimes when I see shit like this, I'm going to be completely honest, I don't know what to say. I just look at it and I'm like, dude, what have I just...
I mean, what can you say, bro? Like, all we can say is she's batshit, right? All we can say is she's batshit, because she is. But anyway, sorry, I don't mean to harp.
Yeah, and she's also like, regardless of how much what she says she believes or doesn't believe, or how much is for airtime, it doesn't matter. The answer is she is like doing stuff like that. Especially if you don't believe it, is the most fucking disgraceful thing you can do for this country, especially in a time like this. And I'm so passionate about this. I don't care if Marjorie Taylor Greene's not an elected official. If let's say she wasn't, but she had equally as much pull, so she could go on InfoWars and a lot of people would listen. Oh, look what Marjorie Taylor Greene said. It is the most fucking disgusting, disgraceful thing to go do something like that for airtime when you don't actually believe it, especially when it is so fucking damaging to this country, because that's a lot of how this MAGA movement and conspiracy movement catches flames, is that a lot of these people, Marjorie's making money, she wants a higher role, I'm going to go say some shit I don't believe just to continue my own, as our democracy and Trump, continue to, or essentially our democracy continues to crumble as Trump fucking, spews so much misinformation. And, then we can go crazy deep into how, a lot of people say, oh, we overreact to shit like this. But I mean, it's true. You can go down the rabbit hole of how, pushing so much misinformation into a society, like a propaganda campaign like this in a lot of ways, is so damaging to our democracy, and it leads to stuff like January 6th, like elections being overturned. So truly, for her to sit up there, and I guarantee that was definitely very out there, very, very out there. She probably doesn't believe that, and it is truly one of the most disgusting things I think you can do, to get up, say something that you don't believe like that. Is just, it's unbelievable. Anyways, with that super lighthearted comment, let's go to my... Okay, so listen. So for some context, This went viral today. Now, I had a really long day. I've not been on social media at all. This is the context, okay? So I'll actually pull it up to give credit where credit's due. Let me share my screen here. All right, folks. So check this out.
We're getting to it.
So this is Twitter. Yeah, this is Twitter. A Trump supporter claims that America didn't win its independence from Britain until Trump signed the, quote, real Declaration of Independence in 2020. This video is about 5 minutes, okay? And listen, I have not watched it. Harry has not watched it. It's caught a lot of steam today. But I want you to know, when we watch this video together, when you listen, okay? This is I understand that not all of MAGA is, a lot. I'd say this, a lot of MAGA is more conspiracy oriented. I personally know Trump supporters who, not every Trump supporter. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I'm not trying to shed hate on this woman. I'm not trying to shed hate on this woman. She posted it publicly on TikTok, but I want you to be aware that this is for a lot of people who may show up to something like January 6th, or you hear a lot of MAGA people say that Trump's still in power. Biden's not really running the country. Some very, very extreme conspiracy theories. I just want to dive into this, and we'll see what happens. What do you think? Yeah?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know you were turning it back over. Yes, absolutely. I was just kind of when you were just speaking there, I was just reading the title again, and it just makes me think of the video we just played. there just seems to be a detachment from reality. I haven't seen the video yet. There just seems to be a detachment from reality on the right. And as you said, you don't want to generalize. We're not saying every Trump supporter is detached from reality. It just seems like a lot are. So with that, and that, by the way, that's not every Republican. It's not every Republican. We've talked on the show previously about like Republicans like John McCain, Mitt Romney, people who like you could actually sit down with, have a disagreement with, but you can come out of it being like, I don't think this person's crazy. I think we just disagree. It's not the case anymore.
And I think that's a really good point. Before we play this, is also, you know, because a lot of younger people, like I know a lot of Gen Zers watch our podcast. It very much feels like this has been politics forever. And so when you say, oh, Trump's, you know, like Harry says, like a lot of Trump supporters are like quote detached from reality, or they're conspiracy theorists. You have to understand that is not us calling Republicans detached from reality. That is not us being so divisive that we're unwilling to have conversations. Not only do Harry and I extensively debate on things like TikTok and Twitter and reach out, the thing is, a lot of what we're passionate about is trying to detach politics from this wing that I'm about to show you of MAGA, because this is not politics. This is not ever what it's been. And a lot of liberals actually don't prefer this stance from me now because it's become so divisive, but I think Harry would agree. The actual core Republican Party, we may disagree on a lot, but, you know, people like John McCain, Liz Cheney, Joe Walsh, a lot of, you know, Republicans prior, you know, probably wouldn't agree with much with them, but they have America's best interests at heart. They're willing to stand up and say we're against Trump, we're against, you know, the misinformation campaign that is this, blah 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 blah. And so those we are all of that group of people is all Americans, people we can speak to and you know, what's the word, you know, get things done. And truly, so many Republicans that like I deeply respect, and I'm friends with so many, even Trump supporters. But you get to this level, and that's just where you're damaging the country. So, enough said. Just get it as a cool high play. Can we go?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Let's do it.
So I have a little news about Jasara. Now this isn't fresh. It's kind of fresh, but I have to tell you about what happened about a year ago. I walked into my bank. I wanted to test the water. I wanted to see if anyone at my bank knew anything, because I've been told that if your bank doesn't know anything, then more than likely your bank's not involved. So I wanted to know. So I went into my bank and I walked up to the manager and I said, do you have any of that rainbow currency? And she looked at me shocked, like, what? And then I said, I know we're going to precious metals. I know that we're about to be backed by gold, silver, and all precious metals. And she was shocked. I think she was shocked that it came from me. That if anyone was to know this, it was not going to be me. I'm just a farmer's wife. What do I know? So she laughed. That was the only thing she could do, is laugh. Could stammer, stomp her foot, slap the counter. Like, she was being very dramatic. And it, to the point where it kind of irritated me. So I looked over at her coworker, who's looking at me in complete shock that I would ask this question. Meanwhile, she has a customer.
She's walking in the bank. She's putting these poor people who work at the bank through the ringer. I mean, that's my thinking. True. It's like these employees at the bank are having to deal with people like her, man. And we've seen this throughout politics, where there's like this, you know, this boycott of Target or boycott of AMC because of the stupid movie we talked about. These like workers get harassed by this lunatic right here. I'm sorry, I'm far more forward on this stuff than you are. I'll call her out. I'll call that.
Yeah, I'm gonna be completely honest. This is one of the things that Harry and I differ on. Although I'm also very new to this, but he's significantly more forward about some of these things than I am. That's the best way to put it. So, and that's okay. I respect it. Now, I'll say this. What was I gonna say? So just so we're on the same page, because we're only like almost halfway through this video. So she walks in the bank, rainbow currency, and she told them they're going to the gold standard, and she thinks that they're in on it. Is that correct?
Yeah, she thinks that like every bank employee is moving. No, it's like we're moving to like precious metals. Bro,
So
how
this
can you
is-
sit
and
there and not
one-
make fun of this, bro? How can you not? How can you be polite about these people?
I know.
Chris, listen. How can you be polite about these people?
I know. Hold on, let me finish. Hold on. So I just want to finish the
Sorry, my
video.
bad. Okay.
No, that's fair. I respect it. This is good. So I just want to make one more thing clear before we continue. And we're on the same page. So the bank, she thinks the bank is in on some rainbow currency, knowing something that the rest of us don't. Everyone, real quick, if you're trying to debunk conspiracy theories, you don't need to go in with, like, if you're talking to someone, you don't need to go into the question of, is there, why do you think we're going back to the gold standard? Or what is rainbow currency? You don't touch any of that. It's simple logical hoops. She is already assuming that, she said in the beginning, is your bank in on it? So banks as a whole are in on this. Now, I want you to think about this from a logical perspective. I don't even know what she's fucking talking about, to be honest, about rainbow currencies. But let's assume that banks are in on some giant conspiracy relating to Trump and taking us back to the gold standard, but no one else knows. The actual statistical analysis on, like, literally tens of thousands of bank workers. Like, the person she's referring to is a bank teller making, like literally just trying to feed a family. Like, working probably 40 hours a week, making, like, hourly wage, a bank teller. And she thinks that all bank tellers, all these people, are in on this. That would require literally, I don't know how many people work at banks, a fucking lot. Tens of thousands of people to all know about this but not tell anybody. Who else up in higher government knows, but they haven't told anybody. No friends. The logical hoops here make no sense. So anyways, can I continue to play this?
Wait. Just quickly. Actually, when you were talking, it actually made me curious. I looked up how many people work at banks in the United States. There are 2,215,318 people employed in the commercial banking industry in the U.S. as of 2023.
Harry, I love you. I just said, literally, I didn't know. 10, 20,000, that was ridiculous. I should give myself a neck for that. 2 million people work at banks. So that would mean, let's assume we'll be generous. Let's assume that, like, the woman in this video is making it seem as if, most banks are in on this, but let's say 50% of banks. 1 million people are in on this conspiracy. 1 million. But they haven't told anyone. They're all hiding it from their friends and family. I guess they're connected to Trump. They want to do it. I mean, you can just see instantly there. Any conspiracy theory, like, we haven't been to the moon. Okay, that's why 100,000 NASA employees kept it all secret. And it's just like, you start to get in those logical, statistical hoops, it makes no sense. Anyways, I'm going to continue to play this. And we'll see if I end up agreeing with Harry. I'll be more forward. Let's see.
And he hears what I say. So he says, is what she's saying real? Are we really going back to gold and silver and precious metals? And I glanced at her to see what her answer was going to be. And she never said yes or no out loud. But she just nodded. Like, I can't believe of all people, that's the girl that knows this.
Top 10 things that never happened.
So
No.
I was in there about a week ago.
No, one more thing. I'll tell you exactly what happened, bro. This poor bank teller was probably not wanting to engage in such an insane conversation with a woman who is, like, harassing her and saying, where's the rainbow currency? I have worked retail. I worked at a restaurant for fucking 5 years. I worked at AT&T for like 3 years in a store. Dude, I have dealt with people who that are not interested in, for example, buying a phone at AT&T. They're more interested in doing something like this. And I would never answer this woman straight up. I would do exactly what the bank teller did, which is this. I'd nod and smile because you're like, dude, what the fuck? So I don't know what she's talking about. Anyway, I'm sorry.
There you go. And I was going to do it again. I was going to ask this question just to, for shits and giggles, see what people's reactions were. But as I'm standing there, I hear this guy in this office, and he's on the phone. And I hear him say, Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 are complete. We are waiting on Tier 4. I knew immediately. Because if you follow anything, you know that there's a Tier 1, a Tier 2, a Tier 3, and we're waiting on Tier 4. Tier 4 is the big one. So all I'm saying is it's happening. And I don't care. If you don't believe me, you don't have to believe me. You don't have to listen to a thing I say. This is a free country. Yeah, well, it's supposed to be. It is as of 2020, when Trump signed a new Declaration of Independence. Oh, that's right. Go look that up. DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo.
What?
Matter of fact, you're just going to put in DuckDuckGo, you're going to put new Declaration of Independence, Donald Trump, July 4th, 2020. He declared our independence from Britain because we were lied to. We didn't win the war. We have been literally a bankrupt corporation under British rule. And this has all been done.
Time out.
It's all
Time out.
undone by
Dude,
Time out. Time out on the play.
Wait,
Time
what
out on the
the
play.
hell is going on? What else?
Time out.
What the hell is
No.
going on?
I just remember moments ago, Chris is like, well, let's watch the video. Let's see what she has to say. Like, you know, like let's not be like, let's not be mean to this woman. You know, no, let you know, Donald Trump declared our independence from Donald Trump from Britain. You know, this is great. This is good stuff. This is fantastic. This is wonderful. Oh my God.
Donald Trump, as of July 4th, 2020. Go look it up. I don't care if you don't believe me. And you're lazy if you don't go look it up. Just saying. Read the whole thing. You'll be shocked. It's definitely not worded like you would expect the Declaration of Independence to be worded. But considering that we've been ruled by another country since 1776, you got to kind of word it all and get it all in there. So I'm just saying, go check it out. Go check it out. It's happening. Nobody can take this away from me. We all know, you know who you are, that believe this is going to happen. And the thing is the more people who believe, the faster it comes. So get your thinking caps on. Work harder. Be smarter.
You know, shout out to Republican73 on TikTok, one of the great legal scholars of our generation. He's just genius. This is Albert Einstein of politics right here. This is great.
Bro, what did I just... Okay, first of all, I want to look at this together. She said that we were lazy if we didn't look it up. I actually did look it up on DuckDuckGo, which is on like privacy. I don't know what the hell. I guess I think the stance here is I use DuckDuckGo because like Google is like taken over by the deep state or something.
Oh, great. Oh,
So
that's
anyway,
fantastic.
I don't know. This was the first link, and I've scrolled. I'm really confused. Like this doesn't even make any. Like, hold on. We'll just pair this just for 1 second. What am I, bro? What is this, bro? What am I looking at? What is
Are you
this?
trying to look up the Declaration of Independence from Donald Trump, apparently? What the hell? Chris, what are we looking at here, man? Well, I mean, you know...
A second Declaration of Independence by the 50 United States of America, signed by President Donald Trump July 4th, to the new... transcribed by Mark Bauman. Bro,
has to be a fake person. I mean, what are we
bro,
looking
this
at
isn't
here?
even like... This isn't... Dude, you ever seen like an official like document? This literally was written by somebody in Word. What is this?
Yeah, this is a Word document right here. This is something that... You know, somebody recently logged onto their computer. Maybe it was that woman. You never know. They go to ChatGPT.
Dude,
They say, write a new Declaration of Independence. They put it up on Google.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna just like exit out of this because people on Spotify can't see. What is this, bro? What is this?
Listen, if you're on Spotify, if you're on Spotify, just
Dude,
imagine the most ridiculous document you've ever seen in your entire life. That's what we're looking at right now.
I literally just like peered at like a 10-page document with no like official stamping or anything that Mark Bauman posted. He claims it was signed by Trump, but there's nothing to suggest that. There's like 10 pages of us declaring independence or something. And then the bottom is a literal like Google image of like a Declaration banner, Declaration of Independence. Anyways, okay. All right. I just can't. Wow. I can't believe I decided to do that. Okay.
That's great.
Listen, there's people out there who think Trump won the election. There's people out there who think we're going to rainbow currency and that we're going back to the gold standard. I don't even know what the hell. That is a lot of MAGA. That's a lot of QAnon. Just and again, I think that's why Harry and I are so passionate because I mean that's just how can we get anything done as a country if people continue to believe whatever the hell we just listened to?
Man, I don't know. I don't even. I just don't
let's
like.
go, we're just gonna we're gonna let the viewers sit. Let's. You want to go to your
Yeah,
Twitter thing?
yeah,
You want to talk
yeah,
about
yeah.
leftists?
Yeah, let's talk
Dude,
about.
there's so many
Let's
layers
go to
to
the other
politics,
side of
man.
the aisle, bro. Let's go to the other wing.
Yeah.
I mean, MAGA and leftists are not comparable. I think they're just two different groups, right? They're just. What's that look on your face, bro? Chris, just give me a look on Spotify
no.
if you haven't seen it.
I'm not
Chris,
giving
say it
you
out
a
loud.
look. Continue.
You think Chris thinks that MAGA and leftists are the same? Possibly? Question mark.
I don't think MAGA and leftists are the same, bro. I'm joking.
Yeah. Anyway,
Listen, there is a thing called horseshoe theory. No, I'm kidding. I'm fucking around. I'm completely fucking around.
He's
Listen,
joking. He's joking.
listen. Let's start here. We're about to shit on leftists for a variety of reasons for a while. If you're a leftist out there, you listen to us. I appreciate you. If you're a lot of the leftists that we maybe like are mutuals with on social media, we love you too. I want to explain something. You're definitely there's the two extremes of the aisle right now in current U.S. politics. The two extremes of the aisle are MAGA and like fascism and Nazis who are like, hey, we would like the white race to like be dominant and we should expel Jewish people. Like that's one side. That's the MAGA side. The other progressive side is like you guys being like, hey, people deserve free health care and free college, and like the government should do, like we should do more for our people. So you guys definitely aren't the same. But anyways, let's get into it. Go ahead, pull it up.
All right. So basically, Chris and I have our disagreements with leftists, as he mentioned, and I actually got into it a little bit with a leftist recently on Twitter.
And this leftist, if I'm, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
Well, I was gonna say I was actually just gonna steal it from you because I'm a dick and I love hearing myself talk.
Oh, that's great.
I think who is this leftist? Wasn't this Bernie Sanders?
Oh, this was a press secretary, I believe, for Bernie Sanders' 2020
I think
campaign.
she's Bernie Sanders. Yeah, here it is, right here. This is Bernie Sanders' press secretary for his 2016 campaign. She's very big on Twitter.
2020.
Or 2020, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Maybe she was on 2016.
So if you're
2016 campaign as well. But anyway, so that's her.
And if you want to explain.
Okay. I thought anyway. All right. So basically, this Twitter user George Taki posted something about third-party candidates, specifically about Cornel West, who's running in the Green Party, very far leftist. He's running in 2024, and he's like, obviously don't vote for Cornel West because we want Biden to win, and Cornel West is only going to take votes away from Biden. Cornel West is never going to win, obviously. And Brianna Joy Gray, a popular leftist on Twitter, has around over 300,000 followers. She said, if your goal is breaking the corporate duopoly, then voting for Dr. Cornel West is the most strategic choice. The corporate duopoly, she says. Come on, man.
Yeah, the corporate duopoly. If you're not aware, a lot of leftists like this very much feel like the Republicans and Democrats are essentially, the best way to say it is, two gears under the same, two gears under the same face is still a watch. So basically that Republicans and Democrats work together. They take money from the same major corporations. They purposely don't get anything done so they can enrich themselves, enrich their corporations, and keep the people down. So the leftist idea here is that we need to vote for a third party who's not bought out, which I think Carrick and I can mostly agree that, politics there should be significantly less money in politics at least. But this thought process, first of all, the reason that this, I think, makes me mad, and Eric can comment on this, is because a lot of leftists who feel like there's a corporate duopoly and you have to vote for a third party. First of all, buddy, the saying in politics is you either get 0% of what you want or 70% of what you want. So they're like, well, Biden should be better. Well, listen, buddy, Biden has been damn good, okay? And his climate agenda, you might say it's not perfect, but it's the most progressive in history. So why don't we stick with that and continue to move forward before we blow it all up? And also, to me, I don't know about you, Harry, this type of talk, corporate duopoly talk, comes off very condescending to me.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if you suggest, if you respond to this, I respond to this, and I was like, when Gen Z and when I grow up in a world, if Trump wins, elections start to get overturned, of fascism I will blame you. I will blame you, partly blame you, for creating this narrative and taking votes away from. I just want to save democracy. You might not like Biden, but please, can we just move forward? And then if we start to agree that this is the platform, the more leftist platform is the platform, sure, let's do it. But let's save it now. If I say let's save democracy now, her response to me would be, oh, like you really think that's like a real thing? Like, the duopoly is all in on it to try to enrich themselves and not get anything done. It's like, oh wow, it's like it reminds me of the video we just watched. Like, oh, like if you don't know, you don't know. Like, do your research.
Yep.
Do your research.
Exactly.
Like, you're just so like dumb, and you're just so like brainwashed. You wouldn't understand. Like, it just seems like you're trying to be higher up. Like, I don't know why I feel like that.
No, 100%.
Dude, we're gonna get so much heat for this. I
don't care. It's the truth. And look, I think you kind of touched on this a little bit, and it's a great point. Is that I think people like Brianna, like these leftists who are like not going to vote for Biden or going to vote for third party, if Trump wins in 2024, history will look at them very poorly. We will look at them very, very poorly. Because look, I have no problem with leftists. A lot of leftists are advocating for policy they truly believe will make people's lives better. It's not a cult. It's not anything. A lot of leftists I know, not all leftists are the same, of course, but a lot of leftists I know are actually advocating for policy they think would make America better. And I disagree, whatever, it's fine. But at least some leftists can put aside that and be like, yeah, well, Donald Trump's an existential threat to the United States. I'm going to vote for Biden. I don't fully agree with him, but obviously I can see a threat. People like Brianna, on the other hand, are different. They don't see the threat. They don't see that the threat that Donald Trump poses as significant. And so they will quite literally throw away their vote. They will throw away their vote. They will risk Donald Trump getting back into office and encourage their followers, their supporters, all to vote third party, which could potentially turn the election for Donald Trump, right? So I think that history is going to look at these people. History is going to judge these people very, very poorly, depending on what happens, even regardless of what happens.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And I think it's a good point that, like, again, not all leftists are, we use the term leftist. That's just a very broad term. But a lot of leftists, like even like a lot of leftists were the ones to push Biden to make sure he had a very progressive or a more progressive or very progressive, whatever you want to call it, climate agenda. So like a lot of, we're not trying to suggest that all leftists or progressives are, bad. And also I talk to her about this all the time. I say, my problem here is not the ideals, right? Like, if I could have a reasonable conversation, and I'm still thinking about this, a lot of times in politics you got to realize it's always okay to say I don't know. Oftentimes I tell people on lives and TikTok, they say, what's your opinion on this? I say, I'm still thinking about it, or I don't know yet, because you got to always be taking in information and stuff like that. You don't have to be so close-minded. So when a lot of progressives feel like free healthcare for all, free college for all, significantly more, government funding for X, Y, and Z, and very progressive values. I actually don't have a problem with that. I might not inherently agree with it right now, but I don't have a problem with any of that. Like those are values that I think, as a country, if we keep moving toward the next 5 or 10 years, and that's what we need to do, I'm for it. I don't have a problem with that. If that's what I decide and where we decide, I don't have a problem having that conversation. I have a problem with this, with not realizing that Trump's the existential threat, like Harry said.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Existential.
There you go. You got it.
I can't speak.
It's late at night. We're recording this, folks. Anyways, let me get back to this like interaction I had with this
I'm so
person.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. Because
I gotta shut the fuck up sometimes.
No, you're good, bro. You're good. This is the most unhinged episode. This is the most unhinged episode yet. If you're still watching, we love you. All right,
I kind of like this episode. I'm not gonna lie.
I kind of like this episode as well. I'm having a fun time right now. Anyway, all right. Back to the topic at hand. So he puts out this tweet, break the corporate duopoly, yada yada yada. So I respond, how much does Cornel West owe in unpaid child support? Because there was a recent news report that he owes a bunch in unpaid taxes and unpaid child support, right? And it seems like a lot of leftists, like Brianna, conveniently ignored that story. They're like, just completely ignoring that this guy is not taking care of his kids. He's not paying his taxes, right? That's wrong. I hope we can all agree, any person, MAGA, Democrats, Republicans, leftists, that, not paying for your children when you're meant to be paying child support is wrong, right? So I asked that question, which I think is a valid question. I think you agree, Chris, right? You think that's a valid question, yeah?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes. I'm nodding my head. I was.
Oh, he's
letting
not.
you
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I
continue.
was
Yeah,
looking. Okay.
I know.
So anyway.
So I didn't really see this. Continue.
So anyway, so I asked that question, and she responds back to me saying, knowing the DNC is paying know-nothing xenials to act like Dr. West has bigger tax problems than the Biden family is just one reason I look forward to voting Green next year. Now, just replace some of these words. You'd think it came from MAGA, right? Replace some of these words.
Right. So again, I think, Harry, I really like your point earlier that, a lot of MAGA isn't the loudest voices in the room. That also goes with leftists, although this is Bernie Sanders' press secretary for 2020. But again, not all leftists. We're not trying to. But this is the type of shit that drives us fucking crazy. Because you understand, again, Harry and I are very passionate about the fact that there's if you're gonna really hammer the Biden administration, like you maybe support some of his policies, but like, he's not doing enough. He's not enough. He doesn't break the corporate duopoly. He doesn't invest enough in Americans. Whatever. Maybe you're way more progressive than Biden. So you're like, you know what? I'm not going to vote for him. I'm going to vote for Cornell. Well, I looked at the poll today. It's 46-46, dead tie between Trump and Biden if the election was held today. If there was a third-party candidate, Biden's losing. Biden loses the votes. It's over. Listen, like Harry just said, this is what we get on Twitter all day from MAGA and the far right, is that we're paid by the DNC, and we're paid by the DNC to slander Republicans. We're paid by the DNC. Now the far left is doing it. We're paid by the DNC to slander third parties. And it's so funny to me. And Harry, I can say this. I know you've been doing this I know you've been in this field for 3 years. I've been doing this for 8 months. I was on Twitter, bro. I knew you fucking 2-3 years ago. I was watching and favoriting your videos. I didn't have a single follower on anything. I didn't post anything. Bro, this shit, I would read shit like this on Twitter, and if I saw it from her, I would be like, got him. And I'd probably scroll through your Twitter and be like, maybe it's I was way more of a leftist too. I'd be like, maybe it's possible. Maybe the DNC's paying people. But now from the inside looking in, from the inside looking out, I've gotten these claims before. I'm good friends with you. People are like, oh, Chris is paid by. I'm like, holy fucking shit. These people are out of their goddamn mind. They're out of their goddamn mind. No one is getting paid by the...
I mean, no, it's ridiculous. It's this, and that's what's funny. It's obviously, Chris and I have been accused of being paid by the DNC. That's never been true. It's just kind of like a conspiracy theory that MAGA on Twitter made up. Literally, it came from Twitter. And it's just funny. It's just Brianna thinks that she and Cornell West are so important that the DNC is handing out checks to slam them on social media. It's you have to do so many mental gymnastics to get to this conclusion. No,
exactly, bro. This is what I always tell people. I'm like, oh no, this makes complete sense. So the DNC as a whole, they're a private organization. They're like, we need to slander Cornell West. The best way to do that is to hand a huge paycheck to two 21-year-olds who tweet sometimes. Yeah. That's the best way to run a slander campaign. Hand the money to two fucking 20-year-olds with a combined fucking Twitter following of 200-something thousand, and you just let them rip.
Apparently, yeah.
What?
I mean, these people are so delusional.
That makes no sense at all. That makes no sense.
This statement right here is as delusional as anything you'd see from MAGA, at least in terms of attacking Chris and I. This is unhinged. The DNC's paying. I mean, what a ridiculous statement, especially coming from someone on the left. I mean, anyway, she's just not. In my view, I don't think a good person, or she's just purposely being disingenuous. But anyway, enough on this little statement right here because there's more. I said, in the comments, I was like, just say you want Trump to get elected and move on. I mean, that's pretty much what she wants, right? And a lot of people are agreeing. Even Kayvon, who's I love, he's great on Twitter as well. And I responded back to her. I said, because leftists piss me off, MAGA pisses me off. I said, people like Brianna are the worst of the left. They think voting Green does anything positive. Trump, a proven sexual abuser and 4-time indicted fraud, will likely be on the ballot, and you decide to act all high and mighty? Give me a break. Just put your red hat on already. And then I followed it up with, also, she never answered my question. How much does Cornell West and unpaid child support and unpaid taxes? Because I think the American people deserve to know that, if this guy's going to be a candidate. So, I mean, this interaction with leftists is, again, not all leftists. When I'm saying that, I'm kind of referencing people like Brianna. I'm not generalizing here. is so dangerous. It's so disingenuous. It's so disrespectful. And, you know, Chris and I have to deal with it, and I know a lot of people on the left have to deal with it. And some might say we're fighting a war on two fronts.
We're fighting a war on two fronts, folks. That's what we're doing. We're fighting a war on two
Anyway, fighting war on two fronts. Yeah,
oh,
anyway.
my God. No, I mean, in all seriousness, the left and leftists are not, you know, they're not MAGA. They're not.
Sorry.
MAGA. They're not. No, it's okay. They're not MAGA. They're not, you know, they're not anything like MAGA. But we will say this. Look, and I don't know about Harry. I'll speak for myself. My most passionate issue tries to be, and I'm not saying I'm perfect at this. I'm not saying I'm sitting in the perfect position. Again, that's why I try to say I always am shifting slightly on the line, trying to figure out what's best. My biggest issue is rampant misinformation, and I'm not saying with everything. You know, I'm sure I've posted or said one thing that probably wasn't entirely factually correct. I try my absolute hardest every time. I'm not trying to suggest that I'm perfect. But in terms of conspiracy theories that are like out there, we have the far left saying, you know, people like us are paid by the DNC and the corporate duopoly. And you have the far right talking about rainbow checks and banks, and it's and I'm not trying to suggest it's everybody, but that's the type of shit that makes, if you want to know what makes my brain click in politics, one of like the top 5 things, it's that drives me so fucking insane, because shit like that is so dangerous. And I just gave you an example of how it was 8 months ago. I was looking at, not 8 months, I mean, I was probably more of a liberal by then already, even before social media, but maybe like a year and a half ago, 2 years, like I'm earlier in college, or like toward 2020, no social media presence, I would have looked at Brianna's tweet as a kid in college and been like, oh yeah, like Harry Sisson's paid by, like, they're paying leftists, like, wow, or they're playing liberals, and then I would have gone deeper down this fucking leftist rabbit hole that isn't true. None of it's fucking true. You're convincing people to take these crazy divisive sides, like the corporate duopoly and MAGA, and dude, it drives me fucking crazy. So no hate to all leftists. I appreciate you being super progressive if you are. You truly want the best. But I mean, fuck, dude. Can we just get back to reality?
Can we just focus on, like, and like we kind of talked about this earlier. It's like, you know, we're talking about 2024 on Twitter with Brianna, and I'm just going to use her as the example, right? Brianna thinks it's worth more of our time to talk about Cornel West, who doesn't pay his child support, doesn't pay his taxes. He's not going to win. The only thing he can do is take votes away from Biden and hurt Biden's re-election chances. That's the only thing he can do. Brianna and folks like her, which is not a leftist, we've said it a million times now, not a leftist, think it's more important to talk about Cornel West being this or that, as opposed to talking about Biden's accomplishments, the things he's actually done for the American people, and how Donald Trump is the twice impeached, 4-time indicted, disgraced former president who's a proven sexual abuser and rapist in New York court, fraud, liar, and cheat. He's all these things. And he's going to be on the ballot. That is such a big threat. They are acting like Biden is a bigger threat to our democracy than Donald Trump. And for that, they will be judged so poorly by history for their delusion.
I agree.
God.
I agree 100%. No, I think that's really well said. Because, again, like in politics, like, look, let's assume that, like, as a leftist, Brianna, whatever, you want significantly more climate change, which I look at you and I say this climate agenda has been so insane. Like, we're talking $500 billion at least, if not more, into the climate agenda. You know, the most money in infrastructure. We have really low unemployment, this economic boom, small business boom. I go on, whatever. Maybe you say it's not enough, but okay. The saying in politics is you get 70% of what you want or you get 0% of what you want. So a lot of leftists are like, Biden hasn't been hard enough on climate, which I staunchly disagree with, but okay. Biden hasn't been hard enough on climate, so he needs to deserve our votes and we won't vote for him. Okay, listen. Let's say, you know, when I listen to Kamala Harris speak at Georgia Tech, I live in Atlanta, I got to go see her. You know, she was saying that with the Inflation Reduction Act plus a lot of other provisions, we're close to like $1 trillion in climate change. But let's just go with the Inflation Reduction Act, $370 billion for climate change. Let's just say, I'll be generous, $500 billion, $500 billion for climate change. You say, well, Biden hasn't done enough, so I'm not going to vote for him. I'm going to throw a vote to Cornel West. Okay. Well, Trump wins because Biden doesn't have enough votes. So instead of $500 billion for climate change, on day one, Donald Trump goes like this, rubs a pen. All that $500 billion that was set to pump out over the next, you know, we're taking literal CO2 in power plants and pumping it 5,000 feet underground. That's insane. Like, we're doing insane things. So yeah, Donald Trump's going to take a pen, he's going to erase all that money, and that's all gone. And not only is it gone, but he's going to go probably about $100 billion in the other direction. So as Republicans have already said, and I said, you can go look up Project 2025. They have this ready. They want to move toward coal. They want to move away from renewable energy. They want to drill and frack more oil. A lot of them don't even believe climate change is real, but they're at least all centered on this idea that we want to completely get rid of renewable energies. We need to move toward coal and move toward burning more, drilling more oil and fracking. So you didn't vote for President Biden because $500 billion wasn't enough. So you know what you get? You get $200 billion in the other direction for coal and oil. And guess what? Not only have you stopped our progress has gone back 40 years. And I told Brianna this on Twitter. Congratulations, Brianna and the leftists who said Biden's climate agenda wasn't enough. It's over. I told Brianna this on, like, genuinely in 2024. I mean this with my whole heart. If Trump gets elected, he gets to executive order, and Republicans get their climate plan through, it's over. Like, you're like, truly, to the leftists on Twitter, it doesn't matter anymore. Like, it's officially over. We have they keep screaming at us that too much time has passed. If we don't do something about climate now, Biden has us on track for cutting emissions by 50% in 2030 compared to 2005. Gone. Instantly gone. We have officially wasted too much time. We will spend at least 5 years going backwards, rapidly backwards. We won't have the infrastructure anymore to go forward, and it'll be over. Your fight for climate change, your bitching on Twitter that Biden isn't enough will be over. It will be over. You will not get to fight for climate change because our climate change fight will be over. It will be done. The U.S. will not have the infrastructure for it anymore. We won't pour the money into it. It will be too late. So in 2055, when I'm sitting on the East Coast, a Cat 6 hurricane, which doesn't even exist right now, will slam into me, and, we'll be ruined, right? So that's my point. You bitch and bitch and bitch that it's not enough. You either get 70% or you get zero, and I'm with you. It shouldn't be $1 trillion in climate. It should be $2 trillion. I get it. I'm with you. Like, maybe I'm not all for all the progressive values, but I'd like to pump tons of money into this, and I can work with progressives because truly, I might not agree with some of the spending. I might not necessarily agree with free healthcare for all, but I'm not opposed to it. I'd love to have a conversation. Maybe it is the right thing. But again, we can't get there. We can't get to that type of stuff if we don't get to the 70%. Let's get to 70% now, and maybe in 4 years it makes more sense for our country and we can move that direction. But if we get to 0% and then negative 50%, I'm not even going to be in politics because there will just be no point. There'll truly be no point in fighting for climate change when it's been too long. They've screened us over and over and over again. And as Harry said, you throw a fucking vote to like, this is what pissed me off. You throw a vote to Cornel West. You genuinely, in my heart, you've thrown away my future. Go ahead. Throw it away, and I'll look at people like Brianna, and I won't even blame MAGA for Trump winning in 2024. I will blame you. If you throw a vote to Cornel West, Bernie Sanders, 2016 press secretary, I will blame you. I will look at you in the eyes, and I will say, you are the reason this man is president. I want you to reap what you sow. I want you to go scream at Trump about investing more in climate change as he's fucking tripling the amount of coal we burn, as he's taking executive power and he's crunching it so he can have more of it, as we're not even buying any foreign oil anymore. We're just fucking drilling on the coast of fucking New Orleans. I'd love to see you fucking bitch because it'll really be your fault. I won't even blame MAGA. I'll blame them. That's my fucking rant. Jesus Christ.
Brianna and other leftists who are in line with her are putting more time into promoting candidates like Cornel West, who are going to lose. They're not going to win the presidency in 2024. They're not. And instead of putting time into candidates who are like running for Senate, running for the House, so we can get majorities, we can get bigger and better policy passed. Look what happened when Biden had a majority in the House, and a majority in the Senate and the presidency. We passed historic policy. It was fantastic period in American history. And now that we have the Republicans have the House, we have Marjorie Taylor Greene thinking that weather is colluding with the deep state, right? Ridiculous.
Yeah.
So why don't you guys work on getting the Senate back, holding the Senate, expanding our majorities? Why don't you guys work on expanding the House majority, getting our majority back, holding the presidency so we can appoint people to the Supreme Court so they don't strike down our policy, so we can get bigger policy passed, and we can actually do things for the American people instead of sitting on Twitter getting mad at 20-year-olds for being like, hey, our fucking future's at stake here, loser. God.
Valid. That's valid. Wow, what a fucking episode, dude.
I mean, what an
Holy
episode.
shit.
We were unhinged today. But.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, dude, what do you think? Odds that people are listening to this tomorrow?
I think there has to be some editing on this episode, just a little bit more than usual.
We'll figure that out. Listen.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Listen. I think that's a good segue. Harry, well said. I'm surprised we filled up this hour, but we'll see how much if we need to edit anything out. But we're unplugged. We don't edit, Harry.
Shut up. Just stop talking. Just stop talking.
We'll figure it out. Listen, folks, we love you so much. Thank you for tuning in. You can check us out everywhere. Mondays, 1 p.m. We'll be back next week. I hope you enjoy your Labor Day. Again, there's a Google form down below. You can tell us what you thought of this episode, all the episodes. This was definitely less structured, smaller stories, more of our abstract view on politics, but some weeks are more structured. We go back and forth. Maybe you prefer one or the other over the other. You can let us know. We really, really appreciate you making it to episode 10. Seriously, we love you. You can follow Harry and I both on Instagram. At least I do more like personal stuff. I repost people's stories. Like I do some dumb videos, so you can check me out there. Also, TikTok, Twitter, all the links will be down below. Chris D. Mowry or Chris.Mowry and Harry J. Sisson on TikTok and Twitter. And yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you next week, Monday at 1 p.m. Next week, I've got a couple emails already stacked ready for next week. So you can email us anytime, questions at CMHS Unplugged. Appreciate it, guys. Have a great Monday. We'll catch you next week.